Yo, hello, this is Kale the Nail, and I have another volume of DanDaDan to review, Volume 3. This was a very fast read, didn't take too long to get through. I would recommend at this point, if you haven't read DanDaDan, I would say, my recommendation is just go ahead and, if you're okay grabbing multiple volumes at once, go ahead and get at least Volumes 1 through 3 off the bat. Volume 4 is obviously not available yet, but to jump right in, this volume picks up right where we left off with kind of in the middle of the fight with Silky Acrobatic Lady. What's her name? Silky Acro. Her name is Acrobatic Silky. They have strange names for the characters. And there's a short fight here, and the fight kind of concludes pretty quickly. But we jump right into Acrobatic Silky's backstory, which I'm not going to go over it too much. But she struggled to make ends meet. She had a daughter, and I'm going to skip over the next couple pages. I don't want to spoil too much. But her daughter's taken away from her, and she kind of it's kind of implied. I don't know. She loses her forever, and she was in acrobatics. That was like her hobby or maybe her passion, and so she died, and now she's just wanders around as a ghost. So in the lore, she's like a modern day yokai. And the way she is connected with the Ira character is that when Ira lost her mother when she was little, and one day she mistaken the ghost of Acrobatic Silky as her mother, but she was mistaken. But because of that chance encounter, and somehow she was visible to the two people, but besides the point, there was this connection made between Ira and the yokai lady. And since she was missing her daughter and she was missing her mother, there became a connection there. Kind of like the only thing I could kind of point out is that they became like a medium to each other, to their lost loved ones. So through their similar circumstance, they kind of have a bond, a mutual bond that way. That's kind of the meat of that whole a little bit. But she's still a dangerous yokai right now, so they're in the middle of a battle. But that's kind of her backstory, and Momo actually sees this, and that's why she's tearing up here, because she saw that vision of the memory through Arya. It's kind of an emotional set piece here, where they have this moment together again, because they kind of realize this about each other. Because Arya is this little girl, so she might not have realized that, but once she remembers that, she has this moment with the yokai lady. And that was an emotional trigger, like enough to actually help the yokai lady have some kind of peace. And then now that she potentially is back with their daughter, who's long lost. It's not confirmed that the daughter died or anything, but it's implied here that they're back together again after a long time. We'll skip ahead a little bit. They go back to school. Okarun he wanted to train. He got his stuff back. He got one of his pair back, and he seemed like he wanted to train, get physically fit, maybe to get stronger, so that way he can do better in the battles and the fights, and when he uses Turbo Granny mode for his abilities. But Arya kind of picks up that they actually have a thing for him. Even though before she was just pretending, but now she's like super into him. And this honestly makes Momo like really upset, because she sees like this obvious classic misunderstanding type situation, and she's like super not about that, right? So that's kind of that puts Momo down in the dumps, and so we transition to this classroom scene, and there's what are these called? A boxing shrimp. What kind of shrimp is that? It's one of those punching shrimp, the ones with punch with the really powerful, the really powerful punches for their size. Mantis shrimp, that's what they're called. So yeah, she's looking at this mantis shrimp, and she's like, "Oh man, that mantis shrimp is so cool. I wish I could, punch Okaru in the face like that. That'd be so good. That'd be so cool." So she's having this she's all distraught over this, even though it's a misunderstanding. But we see that mantis shrimp inside its tank, and that immediately transitions into the school getting filled up with water. And it seems like everyone disappears. I don't know what happens all of a sudden. Everyone's gone, and it's just Okarun, Ira, and Momo again. And the school's kind of filling with water. And then some more monsters come by, and this is obviously like the Loch Ness monster. But I also noticed that it has more of a face of Godzilla to it, and that's kind of confirmed with the fact that it has this really crazy beam attack, just demolishes everything. So definitely, it's Loch Ness monster, but it's also got references to Godzilla here for sure. And then the aliens come back, and that's kind of the deal. These aliens, from the previous storyline, they came back with a boxing alien, so another reference to that mantis shrimp. And since this is like Ira's, not Ira's, this is like Momo's storyline again. I don't think that's Momo. I think that's Ira. Oh, that's Ira. Yeah, that's Ira. Momo and Ira look very similar. You got to look at their eyes actually and hairstyles to tell them apart. So when Momo was having when she was having problems, she basically summoned like the aliens, right? Just like kind of like last time, the aliens have more of a connection to Momo, even though Ogarun was originally the one who believed in aliens and UFOs and stuff. But the aliens have kind of a connection to Momo as well. So Momo was having an issue. She was looking at the boxing shrimp, not the mantis shrimp, and then this boxer alien showed up. So there's a connection there. So they're having this battle. You can skip over most of it. Ira comes back, and she has a little bit of Acrobatic Silky's abilities, so she gets her powers from that connection she had emotionally with Acrobatic Silky. Kind of the big set piece here is that somehow Okarun loses his clothes because he was... Oh, that's right, the aliens. The aliens, like, took his clothes because they needed this stuff for breeding. So we can skip over most of this. This is stuff you should definitely read if you haven't read so already. But those two key points are like, the connection between Ira and Acrobatic Silky, and the summoning of these monsters because Momo's having a sad time. That's kind of like the big premise. That's the big purpose here. And so kind of the big cool set piece here is that they end up in the water, and Okarun and Momo, like they came back up again, and they use Momo's abilities to project themselves like through the water. And so that's kind of like how they move so crazy fast through the water like this and save Ira. And that kind of gets us real close to the ending of this. And so they're duking. At the very end, they're going to be duking it out with the with the aliens in the Loch Ness monster thing. So that's kind of where this one leaves off. Very action heavy in the back, which is nice, and a little action heavy in the front, but also, so the story and the meat is kind of in the middle, which is good. That's kind of like how I like it. Action in the front, slow down and pace in the middle, and then it ramps right back up at the end. So it was a very fast read, and I really do like the artwork. And then the cover work here too. And of course, the aliens are back again because they want to reproduce, and they hire these other aliens to come with them, and they're like always threatening, like, "Oh, you did it wrong. Your pay is docked." So there's some comedic relief. There's some comic relief with the aliens because of how they operate, and they communicate and they work with each other. And there's a bonus chapter in here too at the end. It's a fun little bit. They try to use their powers to race Granny to get some ice cream or whatever. It's like they're just looking for popsicles. Okay. Yeah, so there's this little bit trying to get popsicles. And even though they're going real fast, somehow Granny beats them. So, and there's a little bit of information about the monsters and on the back, which I actually like a lot. It's like apparently these are real life alien creatures that have been spotted at some point in the past. So the Dover demon, because a witness in Massachusetts bought boxing gloves when he came to Earth, looking like he wants to use them. So like apparently the Dover demon's a real thing. He come against you. And it explains in here that Acrobatic Silky is like a modern day yokai, which explains like Japan has lots of supernatural stuff that comes from ancient times and like modern myths and stuff like that too that pops up all the time. So, always the clashing of the ancient and the new, and the that's kind of like the four pillars of of Japanese supernatural stuff, is that you have the old stuff, you have the new stuff, you have the urban stuff, and you have the wild late nature stuff. So it's like, always those things always tie into each other really well, because Japan's very urbanized, but at the same time it used to be very much a whole large area of Japan is actually just mountainous wilderness. So you have those dynamics play with each other a lot with. So that's kind of like most of my thoughts on DanDaDan Volume 3. Very good. It keeps it very entertaining the entire way through. I actually do like the moments where the characters just get to talk to each other and stuff. So like even the stuff in the middle is just as interesting as the actiony stuff. The actiony stuff gets to be really cool and wacky, and then the melodramatic stuff in the middle is also interesting for plot development and character development, stuff like that too. So DanDaDan Volume 3 keeps up the pace very well and is very good. So that's my thoughts on DanDaDan Volume 3. So let me know in the comments if you've read this or want to read this, or let me know. So see you guys later.